Hello, um, my name is Pedro, and well, this is a cute story. And I'm going to tell you because I have like a really close story with this type of scars. And when I was like 9 years old, a long time ago, uh, I made myself a tattoo my in the upper part of my left arm. And this tattoo was supposed like to be a temporal tattoo. It was supposed to disappear 2 weeks after I originally put it. And it disappeared, but some days after it turned really bad. It turned red, itchy, and painful. But I didn't complain about it. I didn't tell my friends that it was hurting me. I always like said, it's going to disappear some in some days until I remember exactly the date. It was the 15th of August when things in my left arm started getting really bad, and I didn't. I ended up in the hospital a whole week because I ended up with a really bad allergic reaction to the ink, and one way or another, I ended up with a permanent mark on my body, and that was the result. A keloid scar that I still have, and probably will have for the rest of my life in my left arm. Then, well, relating to what I told you about not complaining, not feeling pain, or not being allowed of feeling of or feeling pain, I have wondered that if you have heard one of these phrases. I know that most of us here have been told one of these phrases or have heard it, but and what I wanted to tell you with these phrases is that they come mainly from a family atmosphere, but not only in family. They are also repeated in our friendship circle, with mostly with our with our friends. That they tell you, "Don't cry, be a man, man up, be you don't have to feel pain. You don't have to complain about anything. You must not be vulnerable. If you are vulnerable, will not be considered enough of a man." And that's something that sadly has generated a ton of violent attitudes that in our society have sadly been normalized. And according to Nuria Hernandez, a journalist that made the survey for both women and men, the results were that 56% of the women that participated in this survey said that in daily interaction with men, they have experienced at least one type of verbal, physical, or psychological violence. And 66% of the women that participated in the survey uh, said that they don't like, um, they don't like interacting with a man that has these like typical dominant male attitudes. Then, in regards like also with relationship between men and women, women said that um, like a proof of normalization of these uh, attitudes that have been normalized in our society, only 22% of women acknowledge that there are different attitudes when a man is talking to another man and when a man is talking to a woman. And 32% of the women said that the attitude does not change at all. This like shows that these attitudes, these changes of attitudes, have been normalized in the society. Now, in terms of expression of emotions, this is something that most men really struggle with and does not acknowledge at all. Because in our houses, in school, as the people here who work have also experienced it, that men are not allowed like to feel true emotions. They are not really allowed to be vulnerable at all because of these attitudes that have been um, really present throughout all our life. And Only, well, this survey also collects data of men and women that have uh, said their experience, mostly of men, that it says that 51% of men does not know how to express their emotion. 37% doesn't consider it's important to express emotion at all. 22% um, know what they're feeling, but do not admit that they are being vulnerable. And only the 12% admits that they are being truly vulnerable. And these numbers are really worrying in terms of expression of emotions, but not everything is it's truly bad because um, well, fake tears, what is proposing is like implementing the tools necessary for everyone to creating a safe space here in the school because we can start making a change here in school. Uh, well, it offers the tools, the necessary tools to have a safe space, a trustful space to acknowledge the emotions that are feeling and to acknowledge here in the school that these negative attitudes, that these attitudes that generate violence are not normal and must not be normalized anymore. And translate this in scholar terms to a family atmosphere. uh, we must not repeat what our family has repeated. That this negative cycle of toxic, fragile masculinity attitudes have been repeated throughout generations. We must ensure that younger generations do not have fear of expressing their emotions in school or in work or in their family, because this is what really can do a change for changing attitudes and for preventing violence. Also, what Fake Tears proposes here at well in a scholar atmosphere is with the help of the Centro de Dignidad Humana to create a safe space and a space of consciousness where everyone is invited to participate, both in not only in college, also in high school, to creating a safe space with strategies that, according to Dr. Patricia Costa, which is a doctor, a specialist in social psychology, she establishes certain strategies that have been successful to, to implement in these safe dialogue spaces to acknowledge emotions and to acknowledge that the emotions that are feeling at that moment, and also to 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 express them, because if we do not express them, that can be negative to our mental health and to also to our physical health. Also, um, well, what can be implemented here is that, as I said, with the help of the Human Dignity Center, is that this proposal of creating safe spaces for the expression of emotion and acknowledgement of negative attitudes, it can be evaluated through different semesters, and also can be implemented in um, different different subjects that are mostly focused on human rights and ethics and psychology, so that in not only in here but also in other subjects and in the rest of the tech community, in the tech community, can be acknowledged and can be implemented. And well, these programs have been successful in other countries like Singapore, Thailand, or Chile, where students have said that these programs, these dialogue spaces, have been successful and have helped them to acknowledge what they're feeling, and also have had a positive relation in past and present in past and present, like numbers of violence and of attitudes of attitude in school. And well, finally, well, to conclude now, uh, I also want like to say that this is really important because by acknowledging we are the generation that can really make a change. And because if we don't do, we do not implement the change now, and when will it be done? Because we have the power to generate a true change in our society, in our community, and we can prevent this to keep happening to future generations. Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for hearing this conversation with these TED Talks. And finally, before we close this session, we will have some words from Martín Valenzuela, again, coordinadora regional de la Oficina del Centro de Reconocimiento y la Dignidad Humana. Qué gusto que esté con nosotros.
Muchas gracias, buenas tardes a todas las personas aquí presentes y quienes nos siguen desde la transmisión. Para nosotros